This time last year, thousands of firefighters were fighting the massive Caldor and Dixie fires. The Caldor fire, which threatened South Lake Tahoe, destroyed hundreds of homes and burned over 200,000 acres. The Dixie Fire was the biggest single wildfire in state history. It burned 1,000 homes and almost 1 million acres. PG&E admitted to starting the Dixie Fire, but did not admit to any crimes. The ABC 10 Firepower Money Team has brought you investigations for more than 3 years to hold PG&E accountable. Tonight, Brandon Rittiman shows us how PG&E started the Dixie Fire.
We've become a society that we don't hold anybody accountable anymore.
They had advance warning. Everyone in Greenville survived, but their lives as shopkeepers, teachers, plumbers, and artists, the Dixie Fire wiped those away with the town.
I think that's the deepest trauma, is like, who am I now? And I think a lot of people are struggling with that.
Sue Weber sees the struggle up close, working in the aftermath.
A lot of our elderly are passing away. And I think it's because for them, it's overwhelming.
The Dixie Fire destroyed an area the size of Rhode Island, almost 1 million acres, Canyon Dam, Indian Falls, half of Lassen Volcanic National Park. But it was Greenville that got the politicians spinning.
We lost Greenville tonight, and there's just not words for how us in government haven't been able to get the job done.
That's Congressman Doug LaMalfa, a Republican. He pointed to poor forest management as the problem behind this fire when he came up here. Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, also came up. He pointed to something else.
These are climate-induced wildfires.
But neither politician from either side of the aisle pointed to what did cause this fire, a corporation that donated to both of their campaigns. Did climate change start this fire?
No.
Did forest management start this fire?
No.
What did start this fire?
PG&E.
For the tree that was on the line, there's a tree on the line, started a fire.
This 65-foot-tall Douglas Fir should have been discovered and removed by PG&E, according to CAL FIRE. Investigators found the trunk was so rotten it couldn't support the tree's weight.
The tree grew into line or it fell into the line?
No, it fell into the line.
Butte County prosecutors say the problem was obvious.
This is not too far off from the tree that started the Dixie Fire.
The side of the trunk facing the power lines had a big section of bark missing. It'd been that way since 2008, an examination of tree rings showed. PG&E had 13 years to catch this problem, but never did.
Why did you not see this tree?
Investigators say PG&E also acted with negligence the day the tree broke, failing to take the problem seriously.
That tree was cooking and cooking for 10 hours in a very, very dangerous area.
PG&E's computers flagged trouble at 6:48 a.m., presumably the time the tree fell. But it took almost 10 hours for a PG&E employee to finally get there. When Troubleman Scott Campbell arrived, he said he noticed the tree and a small fire, the first flames of the Dixie Fire. The Troubleman's lawyers point out he risked his own safety trying to put it out. Prosecutors didn't charge Campbell. They say PG&E set him up to fail. It took PG&E about 4 hours to even give the job to Campbell. Before that, PG&E had assigned it to the wrong maintenance yard.
They basically wasted about 3.5 hours doing nothing.
Others at PG&E could have prevented this fire that day. 94 miles away in this unmarked PG&E building, operators thought about turning off the power, but decided not to.
If they'd have gotten up there earlier, if they'd have used any of the tools that were available to them, or just simply cutting off the power to that section of the line until they could get there, there would have been no fire.
So how many times does it have to happen?
The year before Dixie, PG&E pleaded guilty to crimes for sparking the Camp Fire. PG&E's criminal neglect of a power line killed people in and around Paradise.
Camp Fire, we put our foot down because that's different. People died. You can't just have a civil settlement.
PG&E pleaded guilty to 84 manslaughters.
Making PG&E a felon, a killer.
The Dixie Fire sparked just up the highway in the same canyon. Butte County District Attorney Mike Ramsey says his team could have proved PG&E guilty again.
There's value in calling a crime a crime.
Correct.
That was
And
the thing you had to give up this time.
At this point, yes.
He and the DAs of the other 4 counties that burned allowed PG&E to settle the Dixie Fire in civil court. No admission of criminal wrongdoing. In exchange, PG&E agreed to pay damages more quickly to the people whose homes burned down.
Get money back into that community.
The DAs say they wanted to avoid a repeat of the Camp Fire, where PG&E's crime victims are still waiting for payment, almost 4 years later.
But this is super cool. I'm super stoked for this.
Sue Weber is glad for any money that'll help Greenville rebuild. The nonprofit collaborative she helps run got $3 million in the deal. But it still doesn't feel right.
It's a game. Like, for me, it feels just like a game. And it's all about money. And it's all about power.
If they had convicted PG&E of crimes in the Dixie Fire, prosecutors say the punishment would have only been less than $330,000. After Paradise, when PG&E paid a fine of only $10,000 per manslaughter victim, prosecutors called on state lawmakers to pass tougher penalties for companies.
The ball's in their court at this point.
Lead Camp Fire prosecutor Mark Knoll says he's not even sure bigger fines would be enough. He wants the ability to jail PG&E executives if they don't keep their safety promises.
To me, that's the only real thing that's going to stop this, is if the people who are making the decisions of PG&E have consequences.
But our investigation found the legislature passed laws to protect PG&E, not punish it. They created a multi-billion-dollar insurance program, which PG&E plans to use for the Dixie Fire. We revealed the bill to create that insurance was written by lawyers working for Governor Gavin Newsom's office, a law firm that used to represent PG&E.
The laws are not made for the average American.
Despite its 91 felonies and sparking more fires every year, PG&E remains free and it remains in power.
If you don't hold somebody accountable, they will never be accountable. They will think they can do whatever they want, and they're right. They can.
I'm here with investigative reporter Brandon Ritteman from our Firepower Money team. PG&E started the Dixie Fire last year. They've admitted that they caused the fire, but don't claim responsibility for any of the crimes. And Brandon, have the people in Greenville, have they been able to get any sense of normalcy back and, move on from this at all?
Really, there's nothing normal about Greenville right now. There are a handful of businesses that have reopened in the wake of the fire. Talked to Sue, who you saw in the story, and she's very happy about each one that opens up. But it'd be a stretch to call it normal at this point. There's no community that resembles anything like what was there before, but there are people determined to bring it back, and that's what gives her some hope.
And how did you get so into investigating PG&E so extensively?
I survived their most notorious crime, the 2018 Camp Fire. I was part of the ABC 10 team that made it up into Paradise that day, which sometimes I still remember as a nighttime event because that's just how thick and black the smoke was up there. And that experience gave me a lot of empathy for what the people went through running from that town. I mean, they were driving the other way as we were driving up. Right, running from their town. And so, to put on top of having to work to get out of the thing alive, the fact that those people don't get to go home again, their community, their whole way of life is gone. That's what was in their rearview mirror. I can't walk a mile in their shoes, but I at least got a taste of it by being up there. And I think it's really important that California comes to terms with the criminality of this very powerful company that has a monopoly over 16 million people. People don't have a choice. And we're going to get more into that in this space next week as we bring you Secrets of the Camp Fire, which dives into the evidence from that case.
And if people do want to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you, Brandon?
I'm old school. I like email. So britteman@abc10.com, or I'm on Twitter @BrandonRitteman, and DMs are open. So by all means, hit me up.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much.